Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles, welcoming you to another installment of Lyles Figure Files. No new Hasbro live streams, but plenty of news to get to. A lot of things I'm excited about, so let's break them down right now. Let's start off with the Mattel Masters of the Universe Revelations Masterverse line, the super longest title for any figure line that I'm collecting right now. So we got Wave 4 officially revealed with the images of Barbarian He-Man, Barbarian Skeletor, Tila in more of her classic old school look, and the Revelation style for Merman. Definitely getting Merman. I like that new look, the crossed out eye, the slash along his chest. It looked just cool to me. And I think that design, like with Beastman and some of the other classic characters, really translated well to this new series. And I like the extra articulation that we get from this line, so definitely getting him. Tila, I like more her old school look, and I think this is one of those cases where Mattel actually helped collectors out by showing us that, yes, we do have the current Revelation style, but we also have the classical one coming for you too. And they gave her with the long hair sculpt, so you can go that route, or you can go the classic full-on vintage look with the hair up in a bun, so you can get that cartoon classic look, the old school figure look in one figure. Really nice job, and I really am looking forward to adding this one. I'm a little bit more interested in Barbarian Skeletor than I was the Revelation one, because it looks like they have his chest piece better arranged now, and his head sculpt looks a lot better. Skeletor was the one main character that I was holding out on just because I was like, it's Skeletor. They've got to make a better version of him. And I'm going to get that one. So I have managed to resist even when the Revelation Skeletor was $12. I said, no, I'm going to wait for a better one. So this might be that best one. The actual Barbarian head sculpt looks a little interesting. It looks like he may actually have some sort of weird goatee going. But it's an interesting look for Skeletor. And I think this may be the one that I actually get as my default Skeletor from my Revelation style figures. He-Man looks a little bit different. I still think they haven't quite mastered what the heck they're doing with his face. It looks more mature, more serious than the original Revelation He-Man, but the helmet head looks weird. The non-helmeted head still looks a little bit off. I don't like the armor bits on He-Man. I think this is one of those cases where just going to have to wait on the next He-Man. Now, unlike Skeletor, I did get He-Man because it's He-Man. Hello. But I do think that there could have been some improvements to the one that I have. And hopefully we'll get that eventually. Just not this one. And not the other one that came, the Savage He-Man that came with Orca. By the way, if you've been paying attention or getting the emails, Entertainment Earth has a 10% off sale for figures, which is always great. And more importantly, free shipping, so you can take advantage of all in-stock items. So right now, Savage He-Man and Orko, Trapjaw, Triclops are on sale. Really good figures to get cheaper for 10%, and especially with that free shipping. So it definitely helps a whole lot. So that is it for the Masters of the Universe line. Now we're moving over to the WWE. So earlier this week, the WWE Ultimate Edition Legends Batista started showing up on Target's website. You can't actually pre-order the figure yet, but he is available, which is good news. That figure is one I've really been looking forward to. The Elite Batista is one of my least favorite bodies Mattel uses. For whatever reason, that was the one they used for all of their Sting, Surfer Sting figures. It is the worst body because it just can't move. The arms don't come down close enough to the sides. And it's just too bulky. I think the shoulder socket, there we go, is too tight, so you can't get any of the figures that have that, to actually do much posing. And it's just a hard figure maneuver, just in general. And definitely not fun for somebody like Sting or any figure that use that body. Batista now will finally get a body that matches him a little bit better thanks to the addition of the butterfly shoulders. You can get him to lock in that Batista bomb a lot better. So that's exciting. But there is also another bit of news for WWE Legends Ultimate Edition collectors. There were reports, and some people have actually gone to Target and found this on the computer scanner, that there is another figure that is coming up. And this one is the Macho Man. And Macho Man is one of those legends that has probably safely 30 figures already, but he's a character that we can't ever have too many Ultimate Edition legend figures, elite figures, because there's just so many outfits that you can go with for Macho Man. Now, we already know that the Ultimate Edition ring is going to come with the WrestleMania 10 Macho Man, one of my favorite attires for him. It's also going to have the jacket, the ring announcer set up, so that's cool. We also have one from Wave 8, and this one was also a really good figure. Now, both of those were neon cowboy looks, so maybe this is the opportunity for Mattel to give us the 1984 to 1989 version of Macho Man, where he wore the short tights, had the long boots, and has the, you know, the whole deal, and a big, super massive cloth cape that would be fitting a Ultimate Edition figure. And of course, with Macho Man, there's so many different options just for that style, where he wore all those robes, and you could do the Mega Powers. You could do a WrestleMania 4 where he wore so many different robes, so many different color combinations. Mega Powers explode. I mean, there's so many options for that classic 1980s version of Macho Man. And of course, if Mattel were like, well, let's just shake it all up for everybody, we've already done a Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hogan in this style. Why not do an NWO Macho Man? Now, that's another option. We haven't seen a lot of NWO Macho Man figures, so this would be a case where it wasn't super overdone. Maybe they do a cloth shirt with a Macho Man behind the bars. That was a cool look for him. And a black and white Macho Man in this Ultimate Edition style with the NWO would be pretty cool. But of course, my preference is mid-80s, full glory, WWF champ, hanging out with Hogan, doing the Mega Power shake, brother. The whole works. We've already got some really good Elizabeth figures, so I don't necessarily need a new one. But yeah, any Macho Man, I'm basically going to pick up, in any Ultimate Edition one where I can definitely pull off that elbow drop and all of his moves to the absolute best of this style. I'm down for it. So if Macho Man is the next one on the Ultimate Edition Legends line from Target, that would be good news. I guess we'll start to see some more news with that as we continue on the road to WrestleMania and see some more figures coming down the pipeline from Mattel. But that's exciting. I'm kind of curious who else they would do, because we know they've got the Ruthless Aggression line. We've got a Batista coming in that series. So it doesn't seem like Mattel's too worried about overlapping between the Elite and the Ultimate Edition lines, as kind of you may thought, like, okay, well, it's going to be another year before we get another version in this style. But that doesn't seem to be the case. And Ringside Collectibles just posted the pre-order links for Ultimate Edition Wave 13. That is probably the best one so far. I think this is the definitive version of Hogan we've gotten for mid-80s style. It's got the skin tone, the burnt orange look, 3 different portraits that actually are fitting for Hogan. The super psyched up, the I'm going to get you now, no, that's it, I'm about to start punching, get my big comeback, and then just smile. It's really good. Cloth shirt, big size, comes with a title. This is it for me in terms of the early era Hulkamania. And hopefully down the pipeline we get a late 80s, early 90s version of Hogan during his WWF finale for that era. And there's so many more options for Hogan, but that's the next one I want to see in this Ultimate Edition line. But I'm glad that we've got the mid-80s version covered. We've also got Mr. T, so we've got the main event of WrestleMania 1 completely covered from one side of that tag team matchup. I think it would only be fitting, only be right, that Ultimate Edition 14 or 15 be Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, and Roddy Piper. That way we've got both of those guys, and we can have the main event of WrestleMania 1, the granddaddy of them all, in Ultimate Edition form. So I mean, it kind of makes sense to do that since we've got one half. And then we've even gotten boxing versions in Elite form of Piper versus Mr. T. And I think we need to do that Ultimate Edition. Piper is overdue for an Ultimate Edition figure anyway. I'm kind of wondering, since we've seen this with the Undertaker figures, if Mattel wouldn't take advantage of this format, maybe give us 2 different cloth shirts for Piper, like one with that tiger, jaguar, whatever it is, cougar, cheetah, I don't even remember what it is. That is still his cloth kilt, and then maybe doing a hot rod, so like a later version of Piper when he's a good guy. And I think that could work because they just change up the hair just a little bit, give us 2 different sculpts with a heel, smiling, sneering, and then a smiling early 90s version of Piper, because it's not like his outfit changed, so it's not a big reason to change up and switch up too much with him. But we'll see. That's some options free for you guys, Mattel. Orndorff's a lot easier. Cloth robe and just multiple expressions. I mean, the dude's very basic, very simple. And we've got the Legends, Cowboy Bob Orton, the Ace, and we'll just have him already. Doesn't seem like we're going to get a new Jimmy Superfly Snuka, but oh well, that's just never going to be at this point. So that's it. On the wrestling front, I want to stick around with that just a bit longer. Chella Toys revealed their Sabu figure, and this is 6 inches, designed to fit with our existing wrestling collections. Smart from Chella. And the Sabu looks amazing. It's got the purple tights. It's got the sash with the big sash around his waist. They already said that this won't be so encumbering that it'll impact or affect the articulation. Head sculpt looks great. Looks like he's got some butterfly shoulders as well. Sabu is one of those characters I don't care if I had to pay a little bit beyond the $20, $25 that we've been paying for Mattel figures, because it's Sabu, and the likelihood of him getting signed to a Legends deal is real spotty. So this is a case where Chella Toys swoops in and provides us a really essential figure for wrestling fans from the 90s. We get one of those core ECW guys, one of the pillars of ECW. Really glad to see a quality figure of Sabu. I would love for them to get their hands on the franchise. I guess Taz is kind of locked up with AEW, so hopefully Jazzwares releases a classic version of him. But there are a lot of guys from ECW who are kind of in limbo in terms of figures. I'd love to see Sandman from them as well. Pitbulls, Stevie Richards, I mean Raven, of course. There are lots of guys. Maybe the Gangsters, New Jack, Mustafa. Love to see those guys. Public Enemy, Mikey Whipwreck. Lots of options. A lot of people who aren't locked up with Impact, AEW, or even WWE. So hopefully Chella knocks out a few more of these guys. And I hadn't done a show since this was revealed, but PowerTown is coming in hard with their Wrestling Legends Live Onlines. These figures, they showed off prototypes of 6 figures. They've already announced that they've got over 150 wrestlers locked up. It's the guys responsible for the AWA Remco figures back in the day. I remember seeing them on the stands, and I had no idea who Ric Flair was, Rick Martel, and the Fabulous Ones. I was like, oh, these are cool. These are new wrestling figures. So my brother and I got the Flair and Larry Zbyszko pack. And just like, hey, these are wrestlers. This is cool. So love those figures. And I didn't even realize how extensive that line went. But they actually covered a huge crop of the main AWA talent. And that's something that you didn't see from a lot of wrestling lines, even now, where they're just getting everybody from that core era of that period of time for them. So it's really cool to see that they're getting back into it. Greg Gagne's partnering with them, and he has at least been helpful in getting some of these legends signed to this deal. So the very first 6 that they revealed are, of course, naturally, it makes sense, Vern Gagne back in his heyday. So it's a younger head sculpt. Makes sense. Lou Thez, another wrestling legend who has kind of been ignored from figures, just in general. Ted DiBiase and Stan Hansen from their All Japan Tag Team days. So DiBiase has matching gear with Stan Hansen. That's a nice touch because we've always just seen $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. So this is cool to actually get a version of him that's not anywhere close to the sparkly suit. He's got a little rougher head sculpt. He's not smiling. He's not cackling. He's doing his thing, right? And this opens up the possibility that maybe we'll see like another DiBiase from his Mid-South days, hopefully with the black glove or, a removable hand so we can swap in black glove. Kerry Von Erich is also part of this line, and that just sent my imagination spiraling because with Kerry in this, you got to figure we got one Von Erich, and Kerry's clearly the marquee one. If you're selling a line, if you want to get one started, you start it off with Kerry. But of course, I want Kevin, I want David. This would be like the first ever David Von Erich figure. Mike Von Erich. So I just want those four at least. And I figure Fritz at some point, I actually wouldn't mind an older Fritz, just so he can hang out ringside and root his boys on. But if they get the four Von Erich brothers in this line, that would be a major win. Mattel knocked out Kevin and Kerry. I think their head sculpts are okay, but based off this prototype from the PowerTown line, I think these might be a little bit better. And the final member of this first wave is Magnum TA. That's interesting because Mattel also knocked out Magnum. We only got one version of him with the Legends line, and it was really exciting to get him in their series. But PowerTown showed off Magnum, and Magnum never wrestled in the AWA that big. He had that big showdown match with Flair during Super Clash, but it wasn't like it was a big AWA feud that he had at any point in time. That's really interesting because it opens up the possibilities of other NWA legends who have thus far not been able to sign contracts with Mattel. Maybe this opens up the possibility of getting Ivan Koloff, Nikita Koloff, Crusher Khrushchev. Because, for whatever reason, Demolition has not signed a new Legends deal with the WWE. Maybe this opens up the possibilities for different versions of Barry Darsow and the Masked Superstar. That's really cool. Those are nice options as well. And we've also been told that Bobby Duncan Sr. and Bobby Duncan Jr. will also be part of this line. I think Greg Gagne mentioned in one of those interviews that they're going to do a tag team 2-pack with them. That's cool. Maybe this opens up more possibilities for father-son pairings. Larry and Kurt Hennig. I don't know about Mr. Perfect with his Legends deal, but I think a Larry Hennig would be a nice figure to get into a line like this as well. Blackjack Mulligan, Barry Windham, Kendall Windham. There are lots of possibilities here. And it's really exciting because if there's 150 Legends legitimately part of this line, then that means there's a lot of big names who haven't gotten figures from Mattel. And Mattel really, to me, stood out from Jakks because they signed some key members that Jakks was never able to get. Macho Man, the Von Erich brothers, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Those three alone were like, you guys have got me. I'm going all in with this line. And PowerTown is also able to get some of those hidden gems, Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express. Then I'll be very interested in getting this line. The original digital prototypes they showed kind of made the figures look a bit stubby. And I'm hoping that they kind of smooth out that articulation or just aesthetics of them so far because they looked a little short. I'm hoping it's not one of those cases of a one-size-fits-all mold and we actually get some discrepancies with scale and height and weight. So if they were to knock out Saint Abdullah the Butcher, he's not the same size as a Greg Gagne. That wouldn't be great. So lots of really exciting possibilities. Maybe now we get some more managers like Gary Hart, Skandar Akbar, classic guys that we've just never seen from anybody else. Percy Pringle, not Paul Bearer. Lots of options, and I'm really excited about that. Let me know what you guys think about this line, because I think there's lots of possibilities. They said it's going to be a Kickstarter to get everything rolling, but hopefully they'll put them in retail, which would be much better than paying Kickstarter prices for something. But I'm really hopeful that this thing goes the distance and we get a wide variety of figures. If nothing else, if they look compatible, so we can just take the head sculpts and accessories and put them on Elite or Ultimate Edition bodies. So that would be a really cool option. The great thing about most of those 80s guys was they wore pretty simple outfits, just tights, and that's all they need, right? So that's exciting. Moving on to the next part, because there's always so much to talk about, even without a live stream. Mezco revealed its 112 Snake Eyes. And I think for a lot of reasons, this is a really nice looking figure. But I don't like the fact that he starts off with a bodysuit top, and then he's wearing pants. I just kind of feel like, oh, why isn't he just one outfit? That was the whole thing about that version 2 attire he wore. Like the original Commando gear was basically a Joe outfit in black. But there was something sleeker about that version 2 outfit that conveyed more of a ninja feel to him. And throwing on pants kind of throws that whole aesthetic off. And not a huge fan of it. And it's weird because I just thought that they would just dish the pants like everybody else does when they do this attire and just have it as one outfit. Then you can make the boots separate, of course, but I don't know, it's kind of weird to me. He is loaded with accessories. There's so much that I think paying 112, you're getting a nice Snake Eyes arsenal with absolutely nothing else. He's also going to come with Timber. They didn't show the actual pictures of Timber. I guess they're still working on it. It's going to have 2 portraits. That's great. I think I'm still fine with the Classified Series one, though, because that was amazing for a fraction of the price. But it really looks good, and I think that Mezco is doing a pretty decent job rolling out Joes. We've got Roadblock, got Destro, Snake Eyes now. They teased Storm Shadow. I'm wondering who's next. I gotta assume it's gonna be somebody that's kind of like, whoa, that just kind of stands out. Maybe Firefly, Cobra Commander, Baroness, maybe Flint. Just somebody that really takes advantage, that they can do a lot of stuff with their format. I'm surprised we still haven't seen Duke yet or Hawk, so maybe those guys are viable options. But if you're getting this line, I think they're doing a pretty decent job of showing a commitment and not letting you go too many months without a new Joe or Cobra being revealed. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the full reveal of Storm Shadow, because I think he's going to look amazing in just their format. And I don't think they're going to do too much to make it like, you guys Mezco that one all up. He's a mess. Now moving on to Marvel Legends. I missed out on Quasar. I had this goofy logic. I'm not going to do this figure for that stupid shipping from Walgreens. But finally, the area stores in my area actually were able to do a store pickup. So I was able to get them that way. And it's sold out, but they put more back up on stock on the website, which is great because that's all we really want, right? For our exclusives to these stores to be easily accessible. In this case, it's just a matter of ship to store. I'll pay that store price without having to go running all around trying to track them down. Such a smooth, such an easy process, and I just hope that that is the case. I don't care about binary, but I really hope that's the case for Baron Zemo, Jigsaw, and the rest of the Marvel villains we're seeing as this year rolls out. Speaking of mail order figures from store exclusives, I just got my Doctor Strange literally today, and I think I'm pretty happy with how he turned out. The head sculpt looks good. The cape could have used a bit more work. It's a little shaky there at some of those spots. That's always the trouble with trying to do yellow on something. But otherwise, I think they did a really pretty decent job. I'm not loving how the cape arcs up. I'm curious to see how that works as I get him out of package. But yeah, Kevin Nolan drawing on the side is just like, yep, that's Doctor Strange. I just wish they had done a little bit better job with the temples there. Because the sleepy version, the night-night version of Doctor Strange actually has it. But this default one just has a little stripe. I'd like to see that been a bit more consistent. And really excited, first of 5, I've got my maximum of Skrulls, and we'll be breaking these suckers out. Why not just have a little fun and do it right? Let's see how this goes. Ooh, these guys are weird. One Skrull. Dumping all the accessories out. So default head looks really good, really focused. Kind of has that angry skull thing going. Basic body. That's nice. Good articulation. Moves really easy. Double jointed. Everything. Butterfly shoulders. Oh, pop. Yeah, love that. Always. Butterfly shoulders. Good range on the neck. Double jointed knees. Great. Good crouching. Massive gun. Always good to shoot down the Fantastic Four and the Avengers. Nice separate gun. He's all set to start blasting away people. It's pretty good. I like it. Yeah, let's see this alternate hand skull. There. Not bad. Like, so I'm very excited to knock out my minuscule Skrull army. Hopefully we can get more of these on Hasbro Pulse. I know they had that restriction of only being able to get 5 of these guys. So hopefully they'll open them back up so we can double our Skrull armies in a lot of cases, because I've seen just from a lot of people, everyone has 5 Skrulls. So I would love to be able to add more to my army as well, just so I can break out who has what guns. Last bit of news. The Marvel Netflix shows are now going to be going on to Disney Plus. Why does that matter to us? Dan, as part of the Marvel Legends Hasbro marketing team, tweeted out that he and his girlfriend binged Daredevil, and she was saying, you guys should make more figures of these guys. And he put up the emoji of, And real fast, just because who doesn't love a good list of Marvel Legends? I cobbled together 4 that I want to see coming down the pipe from the Marvel Netflix shows. Not doing anything greedy, just really 4 basic ones that I really hope to see. First up is Misty Knight. And that's also because the Misty Knight version that we have from the comics is one of my least favorite figures. She didn't stand well and didn't have a lot of detail. And I really love Misty in Luke Cage and Iron Fist. And I think she really would benefit and would look cool as a figure. Next up, Kingpin. Wilson Fisk is all over. He's in Daredevil, and now he's in Hawkeye. So we need a new version of him based on his official MCU appearance. So no brainer for him. Got to get him into the line as well. And also, while we're going in this direction, got to have Foggy Nelson. He's right there with Matt Murdock through thick, thin, and everything else. Got to conclude him. He's one of those key civilian supporting characters that has lasted and existed through so many decades with Matt Murdock. So I think that he's just, in general, warrants a supporting figure. And this is one that you can kind of stand in just as well with the comic book version, because Foggy doesn't need multiple figures on your stands anyway, but we should get a Foggy figure. And last up, kind of a dark horse candidate, probably not somebody on their radar, but Bushmaster from season 2 of Luke Cage. I just thought he was a cool bad guy, and we've already got the Luke Cage figures, so it'd be nice to have somebody for him to fight besides standing in for Power Man or Luke Cage in my just regular comic book display. Love to see him just to fight off my Luke Cage figure. All right, well, that's it. Talked a whole lot. Talked about a lot of figures and lots of exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. Let me know what you're most excited about and what you're hoping to pick up and what you just grabbed this week. For now, thank you so much for watching. As always, this episode of Loud's Figure Files has been filed.